Hello, I'm Roly. I'm a custodian of this beautiful woodland in the heart of Derbyshire, and this is video blog number 98. Here in the woodland, the echoes of Wassailing still linger, even though the songs have faded and the cups have been set down. Wassailing was never simply a folk performance. It was an act of guardianship, a ritual of care, a way of driving away what was sour, stagnant, or harmful, so that apples and pears could return in health and abundance. Noise, fire, song, and shared breath were used not to dominate the trees, but to remind them that they were not alone. That, that feels important to remember because the apple itself carries a far older story than the one most of us were raised with. In a Judeo-Christian tradition, the apple becomes a symbol of the fall, of disobedience, fracture, and exile from paradise. Knowledge is framed as something taken too soon, something that brings loss rather than fullness. The fruit becomes a warning, but here, on these islands, the apple speaks a different language. In Celtic tradition, the apple is a fruit of the other world, a fruit of bliss, healing, and deep knowledge. It belongs alongside the hazelnut as a bearer of wisdom, not forbidden, but earned through relationships, patience, and attunement. Knowledge here does not us sever us from the world. It restores us to it. Britain has its own otherworldly geography woven through the mist, water, and story. Avalon, sometimes called Insula, the island of apples. It's not a distant heaven, but a neighbouring realm, a place close enough to touch when the veil thins. According to Geoffrey of Monmouth, it is ruled by the goddess Morgan, or Mergan, and her sisters. They are healers and stewards, not judges. It is to Avalon that Arthur is taken, not to die, but to be restored. That difference matters. Where one tradition frames the apple as the beginnings of loss, the other holds it as the promise of return, of wholeness regained, of wounds tended rather than punished. And it feels no coincidence that the apple is mistletoe's favourite host. Mistletoe, the plant that lives between worlds, neither fully rooted in earth nor wholly of the sky, chooses the apple more often than any other tree, the healer growing upon the fruit of healing, the liminal plant carried by a liminal tree. Together they form a living threshold, a reminder that restoration often comes from the meeting of realms, not from choosing one over the other. So when we wassail, when we sing to the orchard and wake up the trees, we are not chasing away evil in some abstract sense. We are restoring balance, clearing what does not belong so that what does may return. We are participating in a relationship that remembers the apple, not as the cause of exile, but as a companion on the path back to belonging. Here in the woodland, that feels like the truest kind of knowledge. Where does all this come from, I wonder? And who plucked that apple from that tree? Ooh, you bad boy. Thank you for watching, and I do hope to see you again.